This was the last night of Roberto Laudisio Curti's life. Here he is, wandering the streets of Sydney, confused and alone, at the end of a night out with friends. Minutes after this footage was captured, the 21-year-old would be chased down by police, armed with capsicum spray and handcuffs. He was fired at with a taser electric shock weapon 14 times. Today, an inquest began in Sydney with a disturbing account of the final hours of this young man's life. Tracy Bowden reports.
Domingos Laudisio has made the long journey from Brazil to Australia for what he knows will be a painful process.
Hello, Dom. Tracy Bowden.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
He hopes the inquest into the death of his nephew, Roberto Laudisio Curti, will finally provide the family with some answers.
I want to be present to support and to really be a witness, not a witness in the sense, the legal sense, but a witness of how these things will go.
Do you think it's going to be difficult to sit through and listen to the details?
I'm not used to this criminal type of things, okay? Never been through in my life. I don't know how difficult it's going to be, but it will touch the emotional side, for sure.
Roberto Laudisio Curti, known to his family as Beto, came to Australia to study English. His sudden death shattered friends and family and prompted demands for justice. His grieving family hopes that this 10-day coronial hearing will deliver that justice. Brother-in-law Michael Reynolds spoke for the family.
He was such a warm-hearted, decent human being who brought happiness to the lives of so many people in Brazil and in Australia. He was a 21-year-old young man with a bright future, and his death was simply a pointless waste of life. His family has been devastated and is bearing a pain that will simply never go away. We ask for the truth about how and why Beto died and who is responsible.
The inquest before New South Wales State Coroner Mary Jerram will examine what happened on the morning of March the 18th. The 21-year-old student died shortly after 6 o'clock after a prolonged police chase during which he was tasered multiple times.
The nature of the conflict between Roberto and the police, which was undoubtedly of a prolonged physical and desperate nature, is best left to the evidence, but it's not been suggested at any point that Roberto was doing other than endeavouring to get away from the police. He had no weapon, and it's not suggested he did, and there is no suggestion that he struck or threatened any person.
It was St Patrick's Day this year, and there was a strong police presence on the streets to deal with revellers. After playing 2 games of soccer, Roberto Laudisio Curti was on a night out with friends.
Sometime between 9:30 p.m. and 11:30 p.m, the 3 men shared a single tab of LSD which had been purchased by one of Roberto's friends. Toxicology tests on Roberto's hair demonstrated that he was not a regular drug user. Roberto's behaviour for the rest of that night appears to reflect an adverse reaction.
In his opening statement, counsel assisting the coroner Jeremy Gormley SC said the events which followed were captured by CCTV from more than 50 sites throughout the Sydney CBD. They show Roberto's behaviour becoming more erratic throughout the night.
His friends had been encouraging him to go home. They'd lent him $75 for a taxi fare. He left them for a period, pacing up and down. At 4:31, in an exceptionally uncharacteristic phone call made by Roberto to his sister, he said something like, "Why do you want to kill me?"
After being separated from his friends, security camera footage shows the student first being chased by 4 men. Shortly after, with bleeding elbows and scratches on his back from the assault, he enters a convenience store.
Roberto told Mr Al-Shaeb that he thought people were trying to kill him. He was clearly in an advanced mental adverse stage at that time, saying that he was a messenger from God.
Security footage shows him launching himself onto the counter. Soon after, he leaves with 2 packets of biscuits. In court today, it was revealed that the initial police message described the incident in the convenience store as an armed robbery.
That call was subsequently corrected to inform police that there were no weapons, and that occurred, at least on my count, on 2 occasions, although it seems that one responding police officer out on the streets continued to refer to the incident over the radio as the armed robbery.
As Roberto Ladicio Curti was pursued throughout the city, more and more police joined the chase. Mr Gormley said capsicum spray, handcuffs, a baton and physical force from police were all used on him. In the final stages, 11 officers were on the scene.
Mr Curti and the police are engaged in a struggle in which Mr Curti is endeavouring to get away and the police are endeavouring to physically restrain him. The police appear to be seeking compliance and do so certainly until 6:04:54 by repeated use of taser in drive-stun mode and by spraying of OC spray at Mr Curti's face. It seems likely that Roberto received some drive-stunning and was sprayed with OC while he was handcuffed.
Within minutes, Roberto Ladicio Curti would be dead.
What causally contributed to Roberto's death? It seems reasonable to say that something did. His death would not reasonably be viewed as coincidental. None of the medical experts seem to think so. On any view, his age, his health, and even in the circumstances, fraught as they were, suggest that this was an unexpected and otherwise unlikely death.
It's hard. You know, it's something that you never expect.
It's been a gruelling day for the family. During the showing of CCTV footage, the students' sisters chose to stay out of the courtroom. Domingos Ladicio says the pain for all of them is still intense.
My mother, who is 83, she goes to the cemetery every week. She goes to his grave every week. So it's very hard on her.
The family hopes the inquest will answer the many questions they have about what happened that morning in March.
The truth, first of all. As I said before, I want fairness, I want integrity, and I want trust.
Tracy Bowden reporting.